everybody. Welcome to our 3 p.m. live this Thursday. No, Wednesday. I'm losing a track of days even now. How are you all? Welcome to our 3 p.m. live. I'm back. We've taken a break for a few days, but we're here and we're back. And today I'm speaking to someone amazing. I'm speaking to Shobhika Sharma, who's the founder of Papa Don't Preach, a fashion label. She was also in college with me and she's doing some exceptional work even in the time of COVID-19. Hi everyone, to everyone saying hello. Hi Anaga, how are you? Good to see you live. I loved it. Hi Naeem. Hi Itasa. Good to see everyone here. I hope you've been enjoying all our lives because I've now put them as IGTV videos. So I hope you're enjoying that. Hi Bhumi, hi Vedika, hi Amrita. So today I'm talking to Shobhika Sharma, who is the founder of Papa Don't Preach. It's a fashion label, which is an eclectic fashion label. Everything that she does is different and amazing. Lots of brides wear her clothes. People do wear it to weddings as well. So today I'm speaking to her about what the initiative she's taken on in the time of COVID-19, which is to raise money for her karigars. And also we'll be talking about her growth of her brand from day one. So let me bring her on board. Is Shobhika here? So hope everyone's doing well and everyone's happy now and with the extended lockdown, but staying home and staying safe because that's the most important. And please keep leaving your comments on my IGTVs. Let me know if you liked it, if you want me to add anything. Is there anyone that you'd like me to interview? I'm happy to take that on because now we have a lot more slots. I'm kind of easing it out. We did one every day. I think I got tired of that. Okay, we have Shobhika. Lovely. Hi Shiger, hi Gayatri, hi Harshita. Hey Shobhika, we were waiting for you, so I'm just going to bring you on board. Hi.
Hi, Shan. How are you?
What is this beautiful place you're at behind you?
Yeah, I got lucky. I got luckily quarantined in my holiday home with my sisters. So when you interviewed Shimona, I was there in the background.
Oh, you were there.
I had to control myself from popping in and saying hi.
Yeah. Oh, you were
Yeah.
with the Urana together. That's so
Yes,
nice.
yes, we got lucky.
So where are you? Which part of the world?
Khandala, Khandala.
Okay, lovely. Really
Yeah.
lucky. This is like open space and birds and I can hear everything.
Extremely lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unlike all of us. But Shubhika, I was just telling everyone how I'm excited to talk to you today because we're first college friends and
Yes.
we've kind of seen each other through the process of growing both our businesses. And
Yeah.
of course, yours is the Papa Don't Preach is a brand that I see at every wedding that I go to. And
Yay.
it's so eclectic, it's so full of fun. It's a lovely brand that you've created. And I've seen the hard work that you've put in from day one. So I'm really
Thank you,
excited to
Shan.
have you here to chat with you.
Excited to be
Um,
here.
so today we're talking all business, and of course you've been doing such fabulous work during COVID-19. So I want to talk about that too. But I'll
Yes.
start with having you tell us a little bit about Papa Don't Preach and how you started.
It's a really long story, and hopefully I can keep it short. I know you know that Sharma sisters can't do that, but I'm gonna try it. So I usually like to talk about it in two parts because one is why did I choose to be a fashion designer? Because I get that a lot from people, and how did PDP begin? I like to trace back to my childhood because I believe, and I think it's an integral part of PDP as well, and its success story, if I may call it that, that I do trust my intuition when it comes to my work, when it comes to, following my gut in what I think the next step should be. So when I
Yeah.
go back to my childhood, I always thank my parents for gifting me the gift of boredom. After school, there were just long hours where I was just left to myself. I was not being made to go for classes, sports, or like even dances, nothing. I was just, on my own. And it was in these hours where I was, left to explore. and do what I was naturally inclined to doing,
Yeah.
which is, I
Yeah.
was cutting up clothes and not always old ones. I was cutting up brand new clothes. My mom
Oh
tried
God.
to reprimand me, but it didn't work. And I was cutting like brand new cargo pants. It could be my sister's pants, dad's pants, it didn't matter. And I was making bags and trying to sell them. And I decided that, it had to be for 120 rupees. I don't know how I came up with that. So I recognized very early on that I love to create things using my hands, but it was important to me that I sold it, So the business of fashion, they're two very different
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
just being able to create is very different from actually doing the business of it.
You're absolutely right because some
Yeah,
fashion designers are not good at the business side at
yeah,
all. So
yeah,
I know
yeah.
exactly what you mean.
So
Yeah.
I'm Punjabi like that, so I think we got lucky there. So, sorry, I don't know where I was. Okay. So
Hmm.
then, obviously, I grew up and my teenage brain kind of took over, and I was exposed to a lot of people, a lot of like movies, books that we were seeing, and I wanted to be everything. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to, do international relations. I don't know why. I wanted to do hairdressing, learn horse riding. There was just so many things. So I ended up
Yeah.
doing BMM, I think, which is what most of the people who are finding themselves end up doing.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, that's where I met you. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that I did it, but I also did not follow my intuition and study fashion, which could have possibly helped me, a lot more in my work. So, at 19, 18 and a half, 19, I remember, Shan, you came up to me and you said, you have a shop? And I said, yeah. And you said, like, you actually have clothes in your shop? And I was like, yeah. And you sell those clothes? And I was like, yeah. So this is at 19, I did a business acquisition. I think luck and my family support are very, very integral to my story, and it's
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's very important to where I am. I think at 19, my local boutique auntie, I grew up in New Bombay. She approached me and she said, I'm facing some difficulties and I would like to sell my business. So I ran up to my dad and I said, listen, this is an opportunity and I can actually own a shop and a master and two tailors. And he said, okay, come up with a business plan. And I was really shocked because he was so open and encouraging. And I came up with
That's
whatever I thought.
amazing.
Yeah, I came up with whatever I understood a business plan to be. And he said, okay. So at 60,000 rupees, which was a lot to me at that time,
Yeah.
I was, I bought my first business. I call it my first business acquisition. And it was a
Yeah.
boutique. It was a 200 square feet place. It was really tiny. There was just one rack with like few clothes hanging, one master, two tailors, and me sitting there. So I would go to college in the morning, which was in Churchgate, and I would drive back and I would sit at my boutique and meet with aunties and, stitching petticoats for them in Busy Lizzie or crepe or like matching blouse pieces and,
Yeah.
haggling with them for like 10 rupees, 20 rupees. So that I learned a lot there. I learned a lot about, mostly I learned about what I like and what I don't like about this work and what I need to work on, to succeed in this. So as soon as I got done with my graduation in journalism, I went to London College of Fashion. I came back, and the exposure there, it more than what I learned in the school there. Just being there on the high street, seeing how brands have built themselves and the impact it has on the people, the kind of street style you see on the roads, in
Yeah.
the tube, and everywhere. I came back and I told my dad, listen, there's a huge gap here. There's no high streetwear label in India, and I don't know why nobody thought of this brilliant idea. And so I launched Papa Don't Preach as first independent e-commerce label that was solely for high streetwear
I
in
remember that
India.
day. I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was exciting. So it was, I mean, it started as Firefly, that was what my boutique was called, and then it was called Shubhika S, and then I finally arrived at Papa Don't Preach. So it's been a
Yeah.
long, long
It's been
journey.
a long journey for you, but
Yeah.
that's so inspiring because I feel like I see a lot of you and me, and our stories are similar because we started so early. I think we were the two people in our class in college who were working on our own brands from when
No,
we were in college
I,
itself.
I I would love to mention this. I think the first time I came to college and I joined in the second year, so I was the new girl, and Shan was like, like a one-man welcome committee of our class. And she was like, okay, sit here. And I was sitting next to her, and I was really happy because she was talking to me and kind of trying to make me comfortable there. And then I see in the middle of the class, she's sticking these nails on the fake nails, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" She said, "I have an interview with Elle magazine." So, and I was like, "Wow, who is this person?" She just had it all sorted out. She had a bags line that she was working on, and she was
But
selling
that's
such
pretty bad
beautiful
because
bags.
I feel like I didn't concentrate in college at all. When I only remember my friends and the experiences. When someone talks to me about the subjects, I have no clue who the teacher was and what the subject was.
But we learned what we needed to, Shan. I think
Yeah,
that's what mass media is about. It's just,
yeah.
being able to tap into what you are
That I
the
agree. Yeah,
strongest at, and being able to communicate your ideas and how to present them. And I think we've learned that, and we're doing that in both our fields now.
that I completely agree. So you have a
Yeah.
question from Shikha Dandia. She's a stylist who says that's such an amazing story. Love your work, Shubhika. By the way, why the name Papa Don't Preach?
Do you really want? It's a long story. I'm going to make it short. Okay.
Yeah.
I just knew it had to come from music. It was
Okay.
very, very, very crucial because everything that I do starts and ends with music, and even in the in between. So I was going through my playlists, and I saw Papa Don't Preach, and I was like, oh my God, that is me. And I think subconsciously Papa has played such an integral role in just helping me and kind
Helping
of
you. Yeah.
also, yeah, being the central figure in my life all my life. So I think it just was meant to be. And my friends are like, this is so you, because that's my aesthetic. It is slightly rebellious. We approach everything with, why don't we do it this way instead? Okay, yeah, that's great, but why not like this? So that
Yeah.
we're always challenging the norm and the way it's done. So my friend
You
said,
are.
but
That is true. Yeah.
yeah, my friend is like, but please go check with your dad and he'll feel bad. And I was like, oh my God, and I was really scared. And I went to my papa and I said, Papa, this is the name. What do you think? And he was like, that's amazing. It's so catchy. Youngsters will love it. They'll never forget it. And I was like, oh, okay. So, it was like
Sorted.
home
Yeah.
run. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was meant to be. Yeah. I think,
Okay.
and
Awesome.
I don't need to ever explain my brand. It's you hear the name and you know what to expect. So I think it couldn't have been anything else.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Tell me, so talking about, of course, we're all working from home, and I'm sure your team is large. I also want to talk to you about the work you're doing during COVID-19 before I get into the business aspect. But how is work from home going for you? Is your team working remotely? Are you still in production? Obviously, your factories might be closed, right?
Factories, of course, closed because of the nature of work.
Yeah,
We have about 55 to 60 karigars, but they are obviously not able to work from home. Luckily, we were able to send them back to their villages long before the lockdown, so they're
that's
home with their
amazing. Yeah.
families. Yeah, that is that. I feel so good about it. I sleep very well at night. Um,
Absolutely. I agree
yeah.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're home, but I have a beautiful team of 14 girls and one boy. Hi, Minaz. So, they're all working from home, and I don't know if it's just me or it's this time, but I feel like I'm blessed with a team of very, very inspired and self-motivated girls, and I'm observing that we're a lot better at communicating with each other, at problem solving, and kind of, working together now than we were when we were in that one office space together. So I think that this time has been very, very informative in how teams can work even remotely well together. Um, but what we did was we started off as an 8 hour week, 8 hour day week. But now what we've done, I think in the second month, we've made it just a 4 hour day.
Oh,
Because yeah, because a lot of our girls, we were chatting and we kind of realized some of them are living away from their homes. They're living with roommates, dealing with so many personalities. Some of them are taking care of their senior parents, and it's
yeah.
not easy. They're cooking, they're cleaning, they're going out sourcing, standing in the queues. It takes up a lot of time and energy.
Yeah.
So, and I also know, and a lot of studies do suggest that if you just give them like focus 4 hours or like a very small, tight, compact working schedule, they tend to be more productive because they know they just have to get done in those hours, and then, instead of
They're
kind of
free.
stretching it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying that, but what I have done is that, we've created and curated a list of courses and webinars and podcasts that we want the team to kind of listen to and, come back to us telling us this is the course that I'm doing, because I'm an introvert, Chan, and I'm loving this lockdown personally for myself, putting the business side aside, of course, that is impacted and that's
Yeah.
that's a worry.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
personally, I'm really enjoying this. I'm somebody who recognizes the need to pause, to kind of, just introspect, to kind of absorb your environment instead of constantly reacting to it. But I do know that if we come out of this time, not having invested in ourselves, not
I
having
completely
grown,
agree with you.
not having, done that one course or learned that one skill. I'm very 7-month course, so I didn't really spend too much time sketching. So I'm working on that, and if I come out of this not being good at it, I'm gonna hate myself. And the world that we're going to come into is not going to be as easy as the one we're used to. It's going
Yep.
to be an exciting world for sure, but it is going to be challenging. And that's what I was telling my team. If we come out of this not having worked on ourselves, just Netflixing and chill, just doing our chores, feeling exhausted at the end of it, we're not going to be very happy about it. We're going to
I
feel
completely agree with you.
cheated. Yeah. So we're hoping that the team kind of comes on
So,
board and we
there
do
was a
these
lot of
courses.
discussion, like you mentioned, about productivity, and everyone's like, don't put pressure on others to be productive. Like, you know how I am. I'm
Yeah.
the exact opposite. I'm always active. I'm always out of the house and I'm
Yes.
always doing something. And I think
Yeah.
from the day one of the lockdown, that's been what I've done. I've been really active. I've been trying to grow the community and stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
But and this is the one thing, like when I spoke to a few people on lives, and I was like, I'm not saying do a 24/7 productivity challenge. Don't
Yeah.
think that you have
Yeah.
to just be. I mean, for me, Shobika, I've never entered the kitchen. For the first time, I'm entering the kitchen.
I
I'm like
still haven't,
learning how to
Chan.
cook. Oh,
I still
really?
have.
So
Yeah.
that's one thing I am doing. And the second
Yeah.
thing which I am doing is sleeping. I don't sleep very on a normal basis. I sleep like 5 hours or 4 hours. So I'm sleeping like
Wow.
9 and 10 hours. So this is huge for me.
That is
So I
huge.
think that whatever you choose, like you said, the sketching, you choose one or two things and just do
Yeah.
those. We keep saying in our daily life we don't have time, but today you do have time.
And
So I
I mean,
think
it's
you use
criminal if
it.
we don't. Yeah, it's just 1 hour a day or 1.5 hour a day. It's not, you're not asking, pushing people to do anything extraordinary.
Exactly.
And I think human beings all want it. We're inherently built to grow. And if we don't recognize what that inherent ask of our body and mind and soul is, then we're cheating
Yeah.
ourselves.
Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more. But tell me about the campaign that you're running for your Karigars, and for Karigars, you and Kresha are doing this together, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think
So tell
Kresha,
us a
she's
little
a
bit about.
yeah,
Of course,
wonderful
yeah, yeah.
human being. And
Amazing.
very interestingly, just before the lockdown, we, a group of she invited a group of fellow girl bosses to a very quiet dinner. And it was during that dinner where she said, Shobika, I feel like our Indian artistry is in danger. And I would like to start probably a school for our karigars to motivate them and to give them better life skills so that they can actually teach it to their, it's essential. Like India is one of
Yeah,
the last few places where we are actually doing such intricate handwork.
yeah.
And it is important for us to preserve that. And I remembered that conversation, and as soon as this lockdown happened, and we were kind of trying to, we were getting so many calls from our karigars, some of our really, really old and trusted karigars who've been with me since I was in New Bombay.
Yeah.
So they're calling me, and they're calling me from their villages, and they're saying, we are fine, but, there are our neighbors, there is, so they all live in communities. They're calling from Rasulabad, Darbhanga, Mirzapur. They're places that are of not knowing where each one of them comes from. I think I'll pay a lot more attention to that now for sure. But um, they then I contacted charities. There are so many charities that are doing such great work, like
Fabulous. Yeah.
Goonj, Habitat India. But they all said, we haven't got permission from UP government to kind of
Send supplies.
just that yeah, that I was not able to help send any on ground help. So we've kind of put together these few trusted karigars who we know are going to do it with the right intent and with the right motivation. And where hence channelize funds that we're collecting through Care for Karigars, which is an initiative that Kresha and I started together, wherein we're putting up our bestseller bag, the golden embroidered handcrafted bag, made a limited edition cape, and we're putting this up for only 5,000, where 100% of every rupee. And it's so sweet, and I don't think that it's something that I really need to mention. It's not anything extraordinary that we're doing, but the kind of messages that we're getting from karigars, because for sending us our salaries in the lockdown. And I was like, you don't need to thank me, but the state of the migrant laborers everywhere that they are witnessing, I
It's
think,
too sad.
we've collectively in 5 days collected about 12 lakh, and we're hoping to raise a lot more. So I'm thank you for
Wow.
allowing me to talk about it. Yeah.
No, of course.
And
We have to help in any way
yeah.
that we can. But tell me, how does one log on to the website and how does one know more about this? If anyone wants to buy the
So
cape or the.
it's just on papadon'tpreach.com where you can go buy the bag, and on kreshabajaj.com you can go buy the cape. And it's a joint effort anyway, so whichever one you buy helps the initiating or want is, what the karigar gets is a lifeline, and is something that's beautifully handcrafted. And I also want to say that why we're doing this, why we're trying to create these new products, so that when they do come back, they have work to come back to. They have, things to do, which is create these bags and capes and send them off to you. So I think it's a
Absolutely.
win-win for all.
Absolutely. No, you guys are doing an amazing job. Now, moving on
Thank
a little to the
you.
business side, because we always talk about something business related, of course. I want to ask you, a lot of people talk about social media in a very big way and a role that it's played in growing their brand. Where do you stand in terms of social media and the growth of Papa Don't Preach? And did you really put in a lot of effort to kind of grow that social? Do you take care of it? Have you outsourced it? Have you hired somebody especially for it? These are tips which young entrepreneurs also look to know. And yours is definitely
Yeah.
an inspiring
So
story because you started so early. So tell us a little bit about that.
started off, we didn't really have Instagram, we had Facebook. Preach Instagram kind of, really took over, and that's where the game really changed for fashion. And I think it's extremely crucial. I don't think I would be sitting here talking to you. I don't think I would have been able to do Care for Karigars had it not been for social media, had it not been for the platform that Instagram has voice and our work to kind of reach so many people.
So
It
we're
is
losing you a
very
little
important.
in terms of network.
I don't know. I'm on
We're
4G.
losing you
That
in
is a
terms of
challenge,
network.
but
It
it's
keeps
full.
blanking. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think you lost me again.
Yeah. It just keeps going blank and coming, but it's fine.
Okay.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
yeah, so Instagram is extremely crucial. As you know, we've stopped doing fashion week since many years now. We feel like it's such a platform there where you can instantly upload something and get feedback. Papa Don't Preach is a label that you either love or you hate. There's no in between. But what was happening, what I was observing was there
Yeah.
was nobody who was criticizing openly on a legit platform, that could, there are no fashion critics that are actually doing that job right now. So for us to launch collections and just not know means, what are people saying? What are people feeling? Is it good? Is it bad? If we only were to rely on people who are coming and shopping from us, we would hear only great. But what social media and
Yeah.
Instagram gives you is not only a marketing platform, not only like a marketplace also, it's the only quantifiable platform where I know that if I put up this piece and these many messages, and this is how I can convert it. And from Instagram, we see how many people go onto our Shopify, our e-commerce platform. Extremely
Yeah.
trackable, extremely quantifiable, and the beauty is that it's in your hand. It's not, you don't really need some expert kind of telling you how it really works. I've handled it myself all these many
Absolutely.
years. And what it does is that I can log on. I respond to every DM. I read every comment that is written. I have read it, because I really, really and value the feedback that we're getting, because that's how we grow and that's how we kind of evolve and do better. So it is crucial if done right. I was, going to tell you that even when we are planning our shoots, we are planning our campaign launches, how we shoot it, how we compose a shot, how the lighting is, what kind of pictures we take. It's all done keeping Instagram in mind. And if you have a great product
Wow,
and if
wow.
you
So it
have
is
the
a very big part of your
right
campaigns.
story, yeah, yeah, of course, 100%. It's from word of mouth and how we utilize our database. I think it's the primary platform for us.
Yeah. Okay, great. So tell me, what about PR? Because a lot of younger brands can't really afford a PR agent or an agency very early in their career or very early in their brand growth. So how's it been for you? Have you just done it organically? Have you got a PR agency? What's your thought on this?
Can you hear me? Oh God, I think you're losing me.
Have I lost you? No, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Ah,
Okay. So, according to me, traditional PR is dead. It was long dead because I think
yeah,
two reasons. Because PR definition means public relations, and it's something that's built on relationship, and
yeah,
how you're kind
yeah.
of able to brands that share a synergy or a similar thought or a similar ideology or a similar, aspiration for, the creative process. So, but what has happened, the younger lot of creators there, this whole idea of if you're good at it, get paid for it, is something that I don't really subscribe to. Yes, you should ask for what you're worth, but I know that when I was younger, I had so many great ideas that didn't see the light of day because people didn't want to collaborate
Yeah.
without there being a commercial angle to it. And I've been lucky that I have found collaborators who do it for, just the project or just the want to kind of create something. And I think that a creative industry will not grow if you don't collaborate.
I
If
totally agree.
is genuine, if the project is beautiful, then I mean, we need to kind of be able to make sense, not because of any fault of its own. It's just not able to survive here because everything has become more marketing related. And, if you can pay for it, you'll
Yeah.
be able to do it. If you can't, we don't really have any PR agency on board or anybody. We do it in Instagram and on
Yeah.
social media in just putting up great work in very clear language of what we are communicating, what we stand for, what we want people to kind of take away from Papa Don't Preach when they come to our page and see our work, and to make connections, make our network. I came into this industry with zero background, zero network. I always tell people I'm pretty antisocial, so I was pretty poor at even creating actual network. So I have to really thank social media and Instagram for that.
Yeah, you are killing it on Instagram, of course, and I totally agree with you about the PR aspect of it. I You couldn't have said it
Yeah.
better. So the other thing, like you mentioned, is a lot of collaborations that you do. What's your take on influencers? Because a lot of fashion brands can't really afford, the influencers today. But of course, it's a very, very big part of the fashion business, and honestly, they do help sell your collection. So how do you think one should work around that?
Again, Shan, it just all boils down to your product, your work, and just the story that you're selling. And every collaboration that we've done, every influencer who has worn us it's never been paid. We've never, ever, ever, ever had to kind of attach a commercial to it. They've all because they want to wear it because they love it. Like I said, you either love it or hate it, and if we are somebody's aesthetic 100%, and they cannot find place us, so you have to kind of come and wear Papa Don't Teach. Yes, we're not own everybody. Yes, everybody
Yeah.
cannot wear us. But we only do it if it happens organically. Because if it does happen, if it clicks, if my TA kind of matches their TA, then it can do wonders. Not only in
Totally
terms of
agree.
followers, but it can actually get you sales. So just if we just focus on the product, there are support you for your work that you do.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. So tell me, of course, like in the fashion space, ramp shows, everyone thinks that once you've done a ramp show, you've arrived. I don't know what's your take on this. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Do you think that investing that large amount of money when you're at a small stage of a startup is important?
So there is no, I feel like when you're starting off, uh, is a great
Yeah.
platform. So I did Fashion Week. I'm gonna have to move from here. I don't know what's wrong with them,
Huh.
as always.
Yeah, yeah, I can't hear
Can you
you
hear
over
me
you.
back
I'm losing you.
now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, way
So when
better.
you're
Way better.
starting off, if you are in a phase where you're just launching and Fashion Week really give you? Fashion Week gives you media coverage, and Fashion Week helps you connect to buyers. Okay. Buyers are stores like your Oga, Naza, Pernia, Ensemble, and just stores like that who
International
are
tour,
pretty
right?
accessible. I don't think Indian fashion weeks are really able to pull in
Okay.
so
International.
many international buyers. So I don't think that should be. There are a lot of trade fairs you can do if you want to. So they are very separate markets. If you want the international market, then you'd rather invest your money in doing trade fairs internationally. There are a
Okay.
lot of them that support young brands. So you can do your research and who's next and things like that. But if you want to create a brand here, you want media coverage and exposure, then Fashion Week in India is great to do. It also lends credibility to your work. So once you've done Fashion Week, your buyers and your stores kind of take you a lot more seriously in the sense that they can then trust that you'll be able to service the orders in a more professional way.
Yeah.
Having said that, there are a lot of brands that haven't done Fashion Week and are doing extremely well
Yeah.
just because of their work on Instagram and on social media. But if you do have the resources, what Fashion Weeks do teach you is a lot of discipline because you have a very strict timeline. There's a high quality that's expected of work to be put up there on the ramp. So in terms of growth, in terms of exposure, it is great, but I don't think that, it's a have to.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, offline events, this is a very big part of fashion. A lot of
Yeah.
people do, Bridal Asia is one of the largest
Yes.
events out there. And of course,
Yeah.
there are many, and also international trade shows. So what's
Yeah.
your, you of course do take part in some of these. So what's your take on this? Do you think this is
Uh,
something that designers should look into?
Again, when you're starting off, it's extremely important that you do a lot of offline events because it's the easiest way for customer acquisition, apart from, of course, your social media as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Even now, when we're doing shows like Bridal Asia, where they pull in crowds from like cities across India, we still at this point get so many aunties, or not just aunties, so many people coming up and saying, "ये कौन सा brand है? हमने नहीं सुना." And we're pretty surprised because we're like, "Why don't you know us?" Uh, but it's a fact that India is a huge market, huge,
Huge, yeah.
and at no point in time will everybody know who you are and how to buy you and how to reach you and trust your product, and the touch and feel that you can kind of take to them is
Yeah.
important, and plus the database that you can tap into. So I think offline events are important when you're starting off for sure. A lot of people come up to me even now and say, we remember you from Style. You were right at the entrance and I bought this outfit from you. And so But at this point where we are now, we are a lot more selective with because our price points are in a very high category, and there are only certain shows like Bridal Asia that kind of help you showcase along with similar
Yes, you're
designers who are the
right.
same price point. Otherwise, you walk into an exhibition, there's somebody who's selling something for 5,000 and you're selling something for a lakh, and the person is going to be like, oh my God, I
Oh
don't want
my
to buy
God, yeah.
her. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
important to select the shows that you're doing. But when you're
Yeah.
starting off, every show, everything that you can do, any effort that you can put in to reach more audiences and newer customers is integral. Yeah, to your
Yeah, totally.
success. Yeah.
So tell me, of course, when you started out many, many years ago, when you started your own store to where you are
Yeah.
today. I'm sure there are a lot of people watching this that are new in the business and want to create a mark. So can you tell us what's been your journey in a few words? You know, what worked for you back then, which brought you here today? Any positives that they can also follow?
So I don't think the industry has changed so much from when I started off. It was a very closed industry. It still is. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay. So it still is a
yes.
pretty closed
Okay.
industry. Uh, what we need to very consciously realize at that point, I probably didn't think of it, is that, designing is one aspect of it, but the other aspect is the manufacturing side of it. And you have to be very, very clear on, the fact that it's a very capital intensive business. You have to buy machines, your space, your karigars, salaries, you're responsible for so many people. So being said, I don't know, I've lost track of what I was saying because I feel like I'm losing you, Shan. I can't hear
Yeah, yeah, I can hear
anything.
you now. I can hear you now. I can hear you. Am I there? I can
Okay,
hear you. I
yeah,
can hear you.
hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi. Okay, so recognize thinking here.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Hi, I
Perks
can hear
of be
you.
perks of being in Khandala in 4G.
Yeah, really. No, that's
Yeah,
fine.
so a couple of mistakes that I made was that I didn't really realize that it was very capital intensive, and if I did not have the support and the luck and the blind faith in my brand and in the story that I was selling, I think I would have broken long.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of people can't seem to hear you, I think because of the network. Everyone is saying it's not audible, there's no voice. So, so anyway, I'm quite done with all my questions, which was great. Luckily, you've answered all before, and this will get saved into an IGTV. So anyone who can watch this later, uh, I can hear her, guys. So for those of you who can't hear, I'm not saying yeah, yeah to nothing. I can hear Shubhika's answers. Uh, So Shabika, we'll leave you here because I think we can't hear you. We've lost you in bad network. I'm going to put this on an IG